Yes, let me just give you a quick introduction to
Mhm.
Devshree, uh, to the audience that have joined us. Devshree is, you guys would have seen her Instagram and other uh, platforms of her talking about career and her journey as to how she built her portfolio in the US. And we just wanted to make this session useful to the community. So she's here presenting her roadmap to career in the US. So looking forward to a great session with you, Devashree. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for the invite. Hello everyone. Good afternoon. And my name is Devashree, and I am a software engineer three at Walmart. And I'm also a tech creator, educator on Instagram and LinkedIn. So I help people in their job search journey or in their career roadmap, trying to help them bring that visibility in their career and that impact that people are looking for. So currently, everyone knows that the job market in the US is extremely brutal, and a lot of people have a lot of issues in getting interview callbacks. And also, if they get those interview callbacks, it becomes very difficult for them to create that visibility and crack those interviews. And even after you've cracked those interviews, a lot of times, once you've joined any company, you have to build that visibility for that promotion or for that raise, and to make that impact. And so I'll be talking about all these pointers today, based on my personal journey and based on whatever meetups and networking events that I host here in the Bay Area. I'll be talking about that as well. Uh,
Thank you so much, Devashree.
yeah.
We have people joining in, and let's get into it.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so starting with two primary pain points for everyone here in the US currently is, how do I get interview callbacks? Because currently the in 2026 market is extremely brutal, and everybody has this question, and I get asked this question a lot of times, and I completely understand the struggle because I am myself am an immigrant in the US, so I completely understand the struggle. And there a second pain point is, once you get those interview callbacks, how do you crack those interviews? Because how do you build that visibility and that impact to be able to crack those interviews or even grow in your career in general? So these are the two pain points that most of us face during our journey. And I'll be primarily touching into these two pain points, but from a practical perspective. So I'll give you a lot of practical advice in terms of building your resume, building your LinkedIn, and all of that, and some hacks here and there that have helped me, and that will definitely help you as well. Okay, so just starting off with a little bit of myself. So my personal story is that I came for my master's in 2021. So I've done my master's degree from Georgia Tech, and I've done it in computer science, specializing in machine learning. So in my first semester, just because it was out of like immediately after COVID, there was abundance of opportunities. So I've seen a lot of companies. Of course, in the fall semester, big tech companies were hiring, and then in the spring semester, a lot of startups were hiring. So there was a lot of abundance of opportunities. And then suddenly, in May of 2022 is when the layoffs began. So, most of the companies, starting from Meta and then Amazon and all of companies, started laying off employees. And that's when the hiring freeze began. And since 2022 May, I think the situation is definitely very brutal in terms of the job market currently in the US. So I've seen that transition myself from having abundance of opportunities in your first semester to having literally zero callbacks in the last semester. And I was about to graduate in my last third semester. So I've seen that struggle. And so, as an immigrant now, I take interviews at Walmart myself. So, I have the experience of both the interviewer and the interviewee side. So, I kind of understand the perspectives. So, based on my personal perspectives and experience, I'll be telling you about how you can also crack those interviews or how you can build that visibility in your career in general. Okay, talking about the first part, that is, how do I get those interview callbacks, right? Because that's the main pain point that everyone has in this job market. So, of course, the first way is that you apply yourself, and but in here, when you apply yourself, I would highly recommend checking out multiple innate and automations, because now it becomes very difficult to apply, mass apply to thousands of jobs, right? So, definitely check out innate and automations. They help you to automate that entire job application process so that you can focus on the preparation part of it and not the applying part of it. So that's very important. But when you're applying, there are two parameters that we have to consider. Firstly, of course, you have to build a standout resume. So I'll be talking about hacks on resume as well. But second is you need to avoid ghost jobs, because a lot of people don't know this, but 30% of jobs on LinkedIn are literally ghost jobs. They are fake jobs, and when you apply to those jobs, you're expecting an interview call back in return. But a lot of times, because it is fake, you don't get any an acceptance nor a rejection. So we get disheartened a lot of times, and that is the reason I would definitely recommend that you should avoid any ghost jobs. And please make sure that, so I'll help you identify those ghost jobs today as well. The red flags to identify, we'll talk about that as well today. Now, the second way of getting interview callbacks is definitely recruiters themselves reaching out to you. Now, this is a better way because, of course, if you are applying to thousands of companies, but if recruiter themselves reach out to you, that becomes very impactful, because they will know your background very well, and based on your profile, they will reach out to you. So the work that they will have for you will be actually will coincide much more with your past experience or with your current work or your current degree that you're pursuing. So this is definitely a more impactful way of getting interview callbacks. That is recruiters themselves reaching out to you. Now, one is of course the cold DM or emailing format through which recruiters themselves can respond or reach out to you. The second, actually, that people don't talk about much is LinkedIn, and how you can build that visibility for yourself on LinkedIn so that recruiters themselves reach out to you. So, we'll be talking about all of these four pointers today. That is one, applying yourself, and then, of course, recruiters themselves reaching out to you. Uh, Yeah. Okay. So, first talking about resume hacks. So, this is extremely important because when you're applying, you need to personalize your resume in such a way that it gets through not only the ATS system but also through the recruiter. So, first is changing your location. This is one hack that I think a lot of people talk about, and it is extremely underrated, but I feel that this is a very important hack. Please change your location on your resume to whatever the target location of your company is when you're applying. The reason is very simple, because a lot of times companies are looking for more local candidates because they don't have to compensate them in terms of their relocation bonus. So it becomes much more convenient for them to actually hire such people who are local. So I would definitely recommend changing your location to some of the prime locations, say Seattle or San Francisco or New York. That will definitely help you get more interview callbacks. Second, I would say is the domain. So I've reviewed almost 2000 plus resumes in the last 3 to 4 years, and I've seen that a lot of people add everything in their resume across all domains. So they add projects about machine learning, software engineering, AI, data, everything in just one resume. So it becomes extremely cluttered, and it does not have a specific impact that the resume should have. So I would definitely recommend create multiple different resumes for different profiles or for different job positions that you're trying to apply to. Don't mix and match everything together in one resume. Next, I think this is a very common one, but just to repeat it, I think you need to add a lot of numbers in your resume, because recruiters just have like 5 to 7 seconds to glance at your resume. So this definitely helps in the recruiter going through the recruiter round as compared to the ATS round. In ATS, of course, there's no mapping for numbers, but there's mapping for keywords. But for recruiters, their attention can be grabbed easily with the numbers. So I think numbers are extremely important for every single impact that you're mentioning in your resume. Next, I would say, I think this is a very underrated theory again, is the reverse job title theory. So, what I mean by that is, say, for example, your past work has some title of that you've worked on, but basically it's not a very generic title that is highly used in the according to the industry standards. then you can actually map it to another title or a job title that actually is used more in the industry standards. So say for example, you have some brand collaboration expert, or say on campus brand collaboration expert. So maybe that can be mapped into something like a marketing intern, wherein you have that exposure. The responsibilities of that job are 80 to 90% coinciding, and but the title is a little different. So you can mention that title, that is the marketing intern title, in brackets, so that it will help you in the ATS keyword matching. So this is very important. There are a lot of such titles that we have in our jobs or in our previous experience, which do not exactly map to the role that we're trying to apply. But the role and responsibilities are primarily almost the same. So you can definitely use this trick. Just mention it in a bracket. Similarly, I think what I had done when I was applying for my internships and full time positions was that I had actually researched 15 to 20 LinkedIn profiles of people who are working at my target role where I'm applying. So, say if I'm applying to Walmart, I looked at 15 to 20 LinkedIn profiles of people working at Walmart in the same position. And then I actually tried to study what were their achievements, how did they describe their achievements, or how did they describe their projects, research papers, all of that. And then I tried to use similar keywords or similar way of framing the sentence in my resume as well. And that genuinely helps because, of course, their resume has gone through the ATS already. So it will help you also to get through the ATS as well as actually the recruiter round as well. So this is extremely important. Just don't copy directly, but definitely you can get influenced and you can use certain keywords or certain patterns and formats that they have also used in their descriptions. Second is, I would say, the spell it out twice theory, which means that, say, sometimes we have an acronym which can have a full form as well as an abbreviated form to it. So say for example, you have Microsoft Excel, it can be MS Excel as well. Or maybe if you have SEO, then it can be search engine optimization as well. So mention both, actually, the full form and the abbreviated form in brackets, because you never know how the ATS system maps those keywords, right? So I would definitely recommend adding as many forms as possible for the same acronym. That will definitely help you. And the last, and I think this is the most powerful one, is the X by Y doing Z formula. So what this means is, say for example, if you want to demonstrate your impact in your resume, what you can do is, in every single bullet point, what you can write is accomplished X as measured by Y by doing Z. So Y is generally in terms of your impact, whatever you've done in terms of your numbers. And so in this way, recruiter would know what you have accomplished, what you've done, the task you've done, and how do you measure the success of it. And then what is the methodology you've used, that is the Z that you've used to actually make that project successful. So this is a theory that is very impactful, and please follow this structure. It will definitely help you rephrase your resume much better for recruiters. Uh, yeah. Okay. Um, Okay, so next is talking about the resume format. So the resume format is should be definitely one page resume. So a lot of people have the saying here that, if Elon Musk can have a one page resume, so can you. So I think a one page resume is extremely important, and I would suggest using a latex format and not editing your resume in any other format, like say Word, because of course, if anything you change, everything moves and it becomes very difficult to manage your resume. So this is my latex format. So it's just a read only format. So you can just make a copy of it and then just replace all the text with your text, and you're good to go. So this is one page latex format. We'll be sharing this presentation hopefully at the end of the session with everyone, so that you can access these links easily. Next is, actually, a lot of people try to, apply for paid applications to get their resume reviewed. But actually, you don't need all those paid subscriptions. I feel you can use ChatGPT easily to get your resume reviewed. I have a prompt which is extremely powerful, and it will help you not only review your own resume, but also actually match your ATS job description to your resume, and calculate the ATS score. So this is extremely impactful, and it will rephrase your sentences as well. So it will help you rephrase every sentence into a more the same format that I've given you before, the more impact oriented format in terms of numbers. It will definitely help you rephrase your sentences along with the action verbs of the resume. So this is extremely powerful. I would highly recommend using this. And next is websites like JobScan. Of course, it's a very popular website and it'll help you calculate your ATS score of your resume. So please personalize your resume for every job application. Try to add as many action verbs and impact words as possible, and try to match the your ATS score with your job description before applying. Next, I would say is yeah, ghost jobs. So, in terms of ghost jobs, what I feel is a lot of people don't know this is 30% of jobs on LinkedIn are actually ghost jobs. So, you apply to jobs, but you feel that, okay, I'm not getting a interview call back. And the reason is very simple. Because they are ghost jobs, they are fake jobs, and a lot of companies don't say it out loud, but believe me, they are ghost jobs. So, the reason why companies post these ghost jobs are very simple. So first is, of course, they want to test their market salary expectations for a specific role. Say for ML engineer versus software engineer, what would be the salary gap? They want to test all of that. So that's the reason they want data about how many people actually apply for that position based on looking at the salary range. So that is also very important for them as a company, and that's why they post these ghost jobs. Also, if you see, a lot of companies try to portray that they are growing, and they don't want to kind of have an imbalance in the stock market as well. And that's the reason a lot of times, even though the company is hiring is firing, actually is laying off, they will have a lot of jobs open. So recently I feel Amazon was has laid off so many employees in Jan, but still if you see that they'll have a lot of positions opened for, so those are ghost jobs for sure. And those are jobs that are open for internal hiring probably, and within 1 to 2 days those jobs again will be closed, because once the other person who has already been selected applies to those jobs, the position will be closed. So these are ghost jobs. Also, lastly, I think why companies post these ghost jobs are because of H1B visa process. Because of course, in the H1B visa process, they have to show that we got so many applications, job applications for this one position, but this is one candidate that we selected, and we want to file the H1B visa for this specific candidate. So they want to show that, and for visa compliance requirements, they have to collect and gather all that data, and that's the only reason these companies generally post these ghost jobs. Uh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. So how do we identify the ghost job? That's the most important question I think we have, is how do we identify these ghost jobs? So the reason is very simple. If the job has been open forever, then the job is a ghost job forever. So say for example, if they have been opening those jobs for 2 to 3 months, and it's not closing at all, then the job is definitely 100% a ghost job, and you should not apply. Save your time. Don't apply to these jobs. It'll unnecessarily take up a lot of your bandwidth as well. So it's better that you don't apply to those jobs. Second, I would say is, as I gave the example of Amazon, wherein the company is on freeze or they are laying off, but still they are pretending to hire. So they still have open jobs. That is also a sign of ghost jobs. I would recommend not applying again. A lot of times when they have jobs open, the hiring manager or the recruiter will be talking about it, and in some cases if they don't talk about it, it means that definitely it's a ghost job. You should also check someone else's like post on LinkedIn if they have actually posted about the fact that they got hired for that role. So generally whenever anybody gets hired or they start a new position, they will post on LinkedIn, right, that okay, I'm happy to announce that I'm joining Amazon or I'm joining Walmart, whatever it is. So definitely such posts will help you identify whether that company is actually hiring or not, and specifically is that company actually sponsoring or not. Also, I think a lot of times when there is total silence, that there's no rejection email also, then it can be definitely a ghost job. It's something that is for internal hiring and it's not for us. And that's the reason there's total silence. There's not even a rejection or an acceptance. One more thing is the zero recent interview activity. So when I say this, I mean that on Glassdoor or maybe on Blind or on Reddit, We often read interview experiences. But if those experiences are not there at all for that specific position in the recent times, definitely it's a ghost job. Because when a company is hiring, of course, they're not hiring unless it's a very senior position. They're not hiring for one or two positions. If they want to hire for an entire team, it's generally you will find some amount of recent interview activity somewhere on Indeed, Glassdoor, or somewhere else. And this will help you to identify whether it's a ghost job or not. And lastly, I would say internal referrals, because a lot of times I have also referred a lot of people, and the internal referrals go nowhere because those jobs are actually ghost jobs. They are only for internal hiring. They are not for the general public, or they're not actually sponsoring visas. And that's the reason the internal referrals go nowhere. And that is also a sign of a ghost job, because at least for referrals you at least can get expect a rejection actually. But if you don't get a rejection also, then it means that the internal referral also is not working, and clearly it's a ghost job. So I would highly recommend, please don't apply to these ghost jobs. It'll help you save a lot of time. Now talking about the recruiter strategy. So as I said that rather than you applying to jobs, it's better that if recruiters themselves reach out to you, or maybe if you cold DM them and then they reach out to you, they respond and they respond with an interview um, proposal. So say if you have a cold DM or any email, any format it is, you need to have the quantity game, which means that if you say send only 20 to 30 emails, nothing is going to happen because the response rate is 1 to 2%. So you can definitely play by playing the quantity game, you can actually negate the luck factor completely in this process. So I would definitely recommend that, send a lot of emails, 200 to 300 emails. Then the chances are that you might get 2 to 5 responses in return. And so you don't have to be overwhelmed. You can send 4 to 5 emails every single day. Even if you're switching a job, you can send 4 to 5 emails every single day. And once you start doing this for 1 to 2 months, you will actually see a lot of changes because the recruiters will themselves respond. And among the responses, again, the conversion to an interview again is 1 to 2% only. So you have to play the quantity game, and that is the only way you can actually surpass the cold DM or the cold email. Because a lot of times people send a few emails and then they think that people are not responding, because I don't think people will respond unless it's an absolute match for that position, unless your resume is an absolute match for that position. So play the quantity game, it's actually very important. But along with the quantity game, you also need to play the quality game. So what I mean by that is, I would highly recommend not starting your DMs or your emails with, "Hi, my name is this and I'm looking for a job," whatever. Don't start with such a DM, because mostly in on LinkedIn especially, nobody is opening those DMs. So I also personally get a lot of hundreds of DMs every single day. So I can assume that the recruiters might be getting like 1,000 times more DMs than me. And once you get so many DMs, you are just going to look at the preview of the DM. That is just the 2 lines that you can see without opening that DM. And that is when you grab the attention of the person. So either don't start with, "Hi, my name is this." Just start with a specific observation, or some mutual connection or shared interest that you have. Or maybe if they've spoken about something in their recent post, you can mention that. And you can mention some compelling value proposition related to their company or their team that is hiring. This is actually what is going to grab their attention, and that's when they will open the DM in the first place, and that's when they will respond. So even the same principle applies to emails. The heading of your email has to be very specific to something that they have done. Don't write a generic heading that requesting referral, or requesting resume review, or requesting a job application for this process, for this job position. Don't do that, because they get thousands of other emails and DMs with the same title. So be a little specific. Try to research about what they're doing, what their company is doing, and be a little specific. That would definitely help you. Along with the quantity game, you need to play the quality game as well. Now, considering as I told you already about the LinkedIn preview, I would highly recommend just the first 2 lines are visible in the preview. So just make sure those 2 lines grab the attention of the user before they open the DM. Now the question is whom to DM, because of course we have so many people to DM, but I would definitely recommend starting with the alumni from your undergrad, your home country, in your home country, because the response rate is much higher. It's 5 to 10%, but and then you can move on to DMing your alumni from your grad university, which might be a little less, that is 3 to 4%. And then lastly, you can start asking for referrals from your second degree or mutual connections on LinkedIn. So that is the last priority, but I would highly give the first priority to your undergrad university, because the connect is much stronger there, because it's a 4 year journey in your undergrad. So definitely the connect is stronger, and that will help you to get referrals faster from there. And lastly, I think the most important tip here is that a lot of people are graduating now and they are still finding it very hard to get new job roles. And in that case, definitely consider contract roles. They're not that bad actually, because a lot of people try to avoid contract and vendor positions. But actually, a lot of companies convert vendors and contractors to a full-time position. So a lot of big tech companies, they will definitely give a higher priority to the vendor who has been working with them for the last 8 to 8 months, rather than hiring a new person altogether, because they'll have to train that person, right? So getting hired as a contractor or vendor is much easier also, because the interview process is easier. If the full-time role has say 5 interviews, the vendor position might have 2 to 3 interviews. So definitely the interview difficulty level is easier. The number of interviews is also lesser. So that helps very easily to get through these companies, whatever product based companies that you're targeting. So I would 100% recommend consider contract roles as your last resort, just in case if you're graduating and if you're not able to find full time roles. Now, I think the most important thing is how to make recruiters reach out to you on LinkedIn. Because LinkedIn is how you build that visibility, that credibility for yourself. And I think that is very important. I personally get like 4 to 5 recruiters DMing me and reaching out to me every single month. And I know a lot of people through my networking events who have actually got those recruiter callbacks through LinkedIn, because they started posting on LinkedIn and that's how they got that interview callback. So I think for the trick for posting on LinkedIn is very simple. You can do everything in just one day. Okay, don't spend a lot of days, because definitely your focus should be on applying and on interview preparation rather than posting on LinkedIn. But and you can do this even with 500 connections, so you don't need a huge following on LinkedIn. You can start doing this with just 500 connections. So what you have to do is just take 4 to 5 hours out and map out your 30 days of content. So what you need to do is you need to make content based on these 5 pillars. So this is actually very easy if you use ChatGPT, because all you have to do is just give your resume and your past work, portfolio, projects to ChatGPT and ask it to actually generate 30 pieces of content, LinkedIn pieces of content for you across these 5 pillars. Because recruiters are looking at these 5 pillars. They want you to establish your credibility. They want you to share your learnings honestly, share your learnings and your journey. Of course, highlighting your achievements helps to build that credibility. You can also provide value and talk about things that have helped you in your journey, that will help to create that impact. And lastly, you need to show business impact, like whatever you've had in terms of your projects or research work or internship in the past. You can also talk about that business impact that you created and your work created. So if you map out your content based on these 5 pillars, it will help you to actually schedule it for 30 days of content in just one day. You can do it, and it will amplify your reach a lot. Now, I think one mistake that a lot of people do is they randomly start posting on LinkedIn without creating an engagement group. This is extremely important. The reason is simple. On LinkedIn, if somebody comments on your post, their followers and their connections also get to see your post. So, what you need to do is you have to make people comment on your post and you should comment in return on their post. So you can create an engagement group of with 10 to 15 other people who are also in the same boat as you, who are also trying to find a job, and that will actually help you. Them commenting on your LinkedIn post and you commenting on their post will actually help you, because it will amplify the reach. And even with 500 connections, you can get a lot of impressions. And on LinkedIn, frankly, the most important thing is impressions. It's not about how many likes or shares you're getting. Everything is about impressions, because your goal is not to be a creator. Your goal currently is to attract recruiters for that job opportunity. And I think for that, this is extremely important to build that visibility. These five pillars are extremely important. A lot of my creator friends also have been doing this, and it has worked wonderfully for them. They also get a lot of recruiter reach outs. So I would highly recommend following this process. And it's a very low effort process, but the ROI is very high. Once you start doing it the right way, you'll feel the ROI, because a lot of recruiters will start reaching out to you. Next, I would say is yeah. Just a second. Okay. Next, I would say is the part two. So, in the part one, we covered how do I get interview callbacks. So, as we discussed, you can get interview callbacks either you applying. So, make sure you have a standout resume. Make sure you have correct cold DMing and cold emailing formats in terms of both quantity and quality. And also make sure that you also apply, start posting on LinkedIn, because that will help to generate that visibility. Now, coming to part two, that is how do I crack these interviews, right? Because already the interview callbacks that I get is relatively very, very, very less as compared to the job market that we had in 2021. So I'm already getting very less opportunities. So how do I crack these interviews? That is a very important pain point that a lot of people have. And I think there are two techniques here. One is a very simple generic technique, which is, of course, data structures and system design and SQL interviews, wherein a lot of lead code style questions or a lot of system design based questions are asked. Also, a lot of SQL questions are asked. That is the generic way of preparing for interviews. It works for big tech, but it does not work still for a lot of startups, because startups want to analyze your profile based on a business use case perspective. So they want to know whether you understand their core product, and can you actually work on the designing part of it? Can you actually understand the constraints, the scale, the tech stack as well? So for such companies, you need to prepare for the business use case questions. So what I've done is recently I have created two separate yeah, I've created two separate lists. So this is one list is the most frequently asked questions that I have. So, in terms of lead code, SQL, system design, behavioral, FAANG, everything, I've given all roadmaps. So, these are my links to my Substack, and I would highly recommend checking it out. It's my newsletter. It has all the Excel sheets, all the questions listed, and all the sample resources that you should use. This is one way of doing it, but I would highly recommend checking another way out, which is the um, uh, okay. Yeah. Okay. The second way out, which is the business use case specific questions. So for this, I would recommend again use ChatGPT. Not the paid one. The free one is also good. The free version. A lot of people keep asking me that, do I need the paid version of it? But frankly, it's not required. You need to understand the right prompt you should give to ChatGPT, and it will actually help you predict questions based on the business use cases. So what I do is generally, if anybody or me, I have to prepare for interviews. What I do is generally I give ChatGPT this prompt that you'll get it, and plus apart from that, I also give the company name and the role that I'm applying for, and what's the position that I'm applying for. So, of course, product management questions would be very different than a data analyst, than a software engineer, and so on. So, you can give the position, the role, and the title that you're looking for, and the company. And it automatically predicts the business use case specific questions. So, in terms of what is the tech stack that they use, what are the scale and the data constraints that are often asked in those interviews, and most importantly, what is the core product. So, based on the core product, you will actually be able to, analyze the advantages, disadvantages, and then accordingly propose a solution. So this is extremely important to understand the core product. And it will actually help you predict the questions, because most of the interviewers also definitely use ChatGPT or Claude Code or Cursor for actually referring to what questions that they can ask. Of course, it won't be a direct question from ChatGPT, but it might be very similar to the business use case. So it will help you analyze and think in the right direction when you're preparing for startup interviews specifically, because this use case would be more relevant for startup interviews as compared to big tech. For big tech, I think the generic coding prep works very well, especially when you are a new grad or relatively a fresher. But definitely, if you're trying for senior roles, then I would recommend using this prompt. It will help you generate the right business use case questions. Yeah, I think that's it. We've covered both the two points of, how you can get interview callbacks and then how you can actually crack those interviews. There are a lot of website I would recommend that you can, check out. So maybe you can check out Brian's Job Search. It's a very good website for jobs, to find jobs. I would highly recommend checking out GitHub repositories because GitHub repositories actually help you. They update the jobs regularly every 24 hours or 48 hours. They actually update the job boards. So it helps you get the latest and the recent openings. So I think Simplify has their own job board, which is also very good. And so use these websites for applying faster. Also automate through N8 and automations. And that's it. I think prepare for it better using ChatGPT. So try to understand interviewer psychology and the interviewee psychology both before you start preparing. Just don't start preparing randomly, but try to think about the impact because everyone in the industry is more concerned about the business impact. So even in your interviews, when you answer questions based on the business impact, it will help you get through the rounds very easily. Yeah, that's all from my end. All the best. And you can connect with me on LinkedIn or Instagram. And my newsletter, my Substack has all of the articles already mentioned. Hopefully, we'll be sending out this presentation as well. So you'll get all the links as well. And yeah, that's all from my end. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, we can maybe take those. We have some time, so we can definitely take those questions.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much, Devshree. You can probably type in your questions in the chat and we will answer them one by one. Uh, Devashree, I'll read out the questions for you so you can answer them here. Does that work?
Yeah, yeah, sure.
All right. There's one question from Maxim saying, do tech recruiters still reach out to college undergrads nowadays after 2025?
Yes, actually they do. So that's the thing. If you don't have a lot of experience, I would highly recommend start posting on LinkedIn because that is the only way recruiters are going to actually reply to you. Because experience is something that they look for currently in this job market. Experience is the first priority that they're giving. And even from an interviewee perspective, I feel that you should have a lot of experience. But if you don't have experience as a new grad, I would highly recommend start posting on LinkedIn, start creating that visibility. Recruiters will eventually notice and they will reach out to you.
Yes. She has another question that is, would you recommend students who are graduating soon still stay open to internships and apply, especially if the internship could buy them some time, recruit for full time during the internship, or is it better to focus on only full time permanent roles or contractors at that stage?
Mhm. So I would recommend, see, the two best ways of getting hired is still either from an internship position if you can get converted into a full time. That's still one of the best ways to get hired. So internship is very important, I would recommend. But yes, I completely understand your question because currently a lot of companies are not hiring for interns and everyone wants a lot of experience. So in that case, maybe I would recommend considering other hackathons, which is next thing that is closest to getting that real world experience. So say for example, GSOC is coming up right now, which will give you a lot of industry specific experience. So if you can attend such competitions or hackathons, it'll help you gather that experience so that you can directly apply for full time roles. And contractors, I would say, is the last resort. Definitely consider that because a lot of people don't consider that because, of course, you don't get the benefits of a full time employee. But that can be actually the last resort because eventually, after a year, the chances of you getting a full time offer from the company is much higher than them hiring a new person.
All right. Gaurav asks, how can I get the PPT? All of you will be given an email along with the details that Devashri has shared and also the PPT. So after the session is over. So another question from Hari. Where do we get the list of emails of recruiters, or what is the best way to find them?
Okay, so I have a tool called as Lessee.ai, but again, most of these AI tools, the problem is that they only have a few free credits and then everything is paid. So if you can afford, then that's a good tool because there you can actually with a single prompt you can look for people. So it's called Lessie, Lessee.ai. I can maybe type it here. So it's a tool wherein using a single prompt, you can just find any expert. So maybe if you want some of your alumni who for referrals, or maybe if you want to find any recruiters who've been working at a specific position for say 4 years or 5 years. So you can actually with a single prompt, you can look for such experts and then you can directly email them. But again, as I said, it can be paid after a point, and most of the AI tools are. So there's no free resource as such.
Right. Um, is lead code still a thing in Walmart or big tech after Gene? Secondly, our senior roles also require lead codes.
Definitely, yes, lead code is still a thing in Walmart, but it is only for software engineer 1, 2, and 3. But for senior roles, no, I don't think lead code is very important. In that case, it's more of low level, high level, and system design rounds that are considered. And that's when the business use case questions come into picture because they are not actually looking for your coding expertise, and most companies right now are not looking for coding expertise because the same code can be written by Cursor or GitHub Copilot. So why would they want someone who can code, but more importantly, someone who can actually think about the impact and then accordingly design systems. So data structures is definitely important, but now it has become a little secondary as compared to how important it was before. So for senior roles, I would definitely recommend using my ChatGPT prompt and also doing more of system design.
There's another question from Hari. I've been pursuing co-op for a year. How does this give me an advantage compared to other people?
So I think the one advantage is definitely the experience because if you're a new grad, then that would help. And a lot of times, a lot of people don't apply for co-ops. They apply for summer internships. So the amount of competition for co-ops versus summer internships is relatively very, very, very less. So getting a co-op becomes easier. Also, a lot of universities also don't allow for co-ops, like fall or spring co-ops. Some allow, some don't, but everyone allows for summer internships. And also the duration. Summer internship duration is relatively a smaller duration, maybe 2.5 months, but definitely a co-op is oftentimes a longer duration. So you have more time to prove your worth and your impact, and the chances of you getting a full-time offer definitely increases as your impact in the team increases.
Awesome. Mrunal asks, any suggestion on optimizing lead code and technical preparation?
Yes. So I think one thing that I had done was, firstly, I have that entire 3 month plan already mentioned in the presentation, so you can definitely check it out. It has a step by step all questions listed that are most frequently asked and also based on their difficulty levels. So you don't need to start from the most difficult questions. You can gradually build your logic. But one trick that has helped me a lot is actually visualizing data structures because, say, data structures like recursion or dynamic programming, it is relatively very difficult to visualize. And most companies, say, for example, Google is highly focused on dynamic programming and graphs, trees. After a specific point, it becomes a little difficult to visualize those solutions. So, if you can visualize every solution, it'll become very easy for you to solve it in any interview. And then you can solve the use case also that relies on that underlying problem. So I would recommend watching a lot of YouTube videos because that's how I learned a lot of data structures. I mean, arrays and strings is fine. I mean, the easy ones are fine, but for the more complicated ones, I would highly recommend check out, like, try to visualize them through YouTube videos.
Nice. Shrey Teja asks, can a recent grad apply for internships? Because all the internship JDs specify they want a student who's still in college.
Correct. Yeah, actually, this is a myth, although they specify that, but a lot of companies are okay. So I have a few friends who, were not getting interview callbacks and they did not have a lot of full-time offers when they graduated. So what they did is they applied for internships. And actually, surprisingly, a lot of companies actually accepted them for internships. And that internship, after 3 months, got converted into a full time role. So, say for example, companies like Glassdoor and all, they do accept interns even after you graduate. So, just give it a shot. Why not apply? And then it's okay if you get rejected anyway. But what if you get selected? So, although the companies mention that, but you can still apply.
Right. Hope that was helpful. A question from Sun. Hello, Devshree. As you said, do we need to update the address as per the job location? If yes, do we need to be do we need to be based out of the location, or we need to provide ID that justifies?
So frankly, once you get the job, right, you will always have to relocate, right? And you will have to find an apartment there. So they don't ask for such IDs and all. I feel that you can definitely mention the location similar to the your target job's location, and then of course that might impact your relocation benefits that you might get. But apart from that, it's not going to impact anything else. So you can always say that you're open to moving, and they are not going to look for your complete address or your ID. And by the time if you have the offer, that's when they start collecting your documents. But at that time, you can definitely move, right? So I don't think that will cause any impact.
Right. There's another user asking, I'm currently strengthening my profile and exploring international career pathways, particularly within the US ecosystem. I would greatly value your guidance on practical routes on international professional like me would realistically pursue, whether through further studies, skill specialization, or strategic networking.
Sorry, so I'm not able to understand the question. So, do you want to know which way is better for enhancing your overall portfolio? Is it further studies or skill specialization? Um, can you
I
clarify the
think
question?
he I think he needs to know like what would be the best direction to take if at all he is looking to uh, exploring careers in the US. Which path would be realistically right for him right now?
Okay, so yes, the job market is very brutal, but I would recommend if you want to do your master's degree, please consider universities that have TARA opportunities and TARA opportunities such that they will help to actually waive off your tuition fees. That is very important because doing having on-campus jobs will just help you, pay for your monthly expenses, but getting the tuition fee waived off is a very important criteria, I feel. And a lot of such universities have a lot of funding for master's degrees. PhD, a lot of universities already have, but look for universities that offer for master's degrees as well, so that once you get a TA or RA and your tuition is waived off, a lot of financial burden is out of the picture. So then you can completely focus on getting a job or an internship, because a lot of people are not getting internships or jobs immediately after they graduate. They have to wait for like 4 to 5 months, 6 months, even after they graduate in this job market. So if you want to pursue higher studies, I think that's definitely a very good decision. But please be realistic in terms of the monetary aspect as well, because a lot of universities are very, very expensive and they're not worth it, especially in this job market.
Uh, I hope the question was answered for you. If at all, please I had a follow-up question if you have any. Moving on to the next question. Um, Maxim says, sorry, I realized my previous internship related question isn't clear. Many internship postings says candidates must be returning to school after the internship. If I am graduating soon and I haven't gotten any luck getting any full-time offers, and I'm also not planning to get an advanced degree, is there any scenario it's still worth applying for internships to buy more time for job search? Or is that requirement usually a hard cutoff?
So actually, it depends upon the company, because a lot of companies mention this, but for some companies, they are lenient enough to accept. So if you get shortlisted, then definitely if you mention it, it's okay for them. So just try your luck, and I feel that there's no harm in applying, I feel. But from a visa point of view, there is no hard cutoff at all. On OPT, on STEM, you can definitely do also an internship, and you don't need to necessarily do a full-time job. So From a visa perspective, there's no problem. But from the company perspective, yes, there are some companies that have a clear mandate that it is a summer internship. But especially the companies that offer co-ops, I think you can definitely apply for at least those internships because they don't have any such hard requirements. But again, it is very specific to companies.
Right. Gulam asks, can you please suggest some resources for system design and use case preparation?
Yes, so there's a newsletter called as Algo Master. He's very good on Substack, and I think he is specifically focused on system design. And he explains it very visually through diagrams, which is extremely interesting to learn. So I would highly recommend that the Algo Master Substack. And also, I would say there is someone called as Gaurav Sen who does a lot of videos on YouTube for system design, and those are one of the best videos on YouTube. So even in my guide, you will find all of the links. So you can definitely refer to that.
Right. I think this is the last question we have. This is from Sri Teja. In current market, are cold messages still valued? If yes, how to approach this?
Yes, so as I mentioned, cold DMs and messages are still valued, but it really depends upon how you are doing it. So when you are cold DMing anyone, you need to take into consideration that the other person is extremely busy, and then you just value their time. So what you have to do is research about that person, as I mentioned, research about the company and the position and the type of role that they are hiring, and try to only talk about that. Don't try to beat around the bush and talk about hi, my name is this and I'm trying to look for job and all of that, because that is not going to get responses. People don't open such DMs. So make sure the hook of your DM is very, very interesting. Similarly for emails also, the title of your email should be extremely interesting for them to actually respond. And again, as I said, it's a quantity game. So you have to email 200 people to get two responses. It's just 1 to 2% is the response rate. And so, yeah, definitely, I would say play the quantity game as well.
One last question from Nini. Which is the best platform to learn DSA for beginners?
So to practice questions, definitely lead code, but I would say to understand the theoretical concept, I would say Geeks for Geeks is very good. They have a lot of good resources, and they have explained every single concept. Even W3 schools, it's also very good. They have very good explanations for every single concept.
Right. I think we are at the end of the session. And first of all, I'd like to apologize and thank Devshree for waiting. And we were having some technical issue. So we had to fix that and come back. So thank you so much for everyone joining us today. I hope the session was useful. And we are looking forward to doing more sessions like this that would help the community, you know, track their journey in the US. Also, please join us on our Slack community. We will also be sharing the link of the community. There's a particular Slack channel for jobs where we do free resume reviews every day and also post free job opportunities that are across US, which are sponsor friendly. So please do check that out as well. And thank you so much, Devashree, once again. Thank you for making it.
Yes, thank you so much for the invite.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you soon.